I'll tell you all the stories of Thomas, or the stories of the ghost. Enjoy the video.
Ago, a little engine was returning home. It was a misty moonlit night. As the engine crossed the old iron bridge, he suddenly lost control and plunged over the side into the swamps below. He was never found again. But many a workman will tell you that when the moon is full, they have seen the little engine trying to get home, but he never reaches the other side.
Night Express to the other railway. I warned him to be careful, but he wouldn't listen. He bumped along the line, unaware of the danger ahead. The line near the viaduct was badly out of shape. But when he neared it, his driver slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The engine came off the rails and plunged into the swamps below. And the engine and his crew were never found again. Not long afterwards, the Fat Controller took over as director of the railway and closed the run. They say every night.
Was working at the mines. It was a misty night. As the engine was preparing to return home, he lost control and fell into the mines below. Found again. But any of the mines will see the little engine trying to get home, but he never reaches the end of it.
Thought he knew better than anyone else. Worst of all, he was rough riding and careless. One rainy and misty night, 260 was rostered to take the ammunition train to the other railway. I warned him to be careful, but he took no notice. The rain thundered down as 260 struggled through the rain. But as he neared the border between Vickerstown and Barrow, 260 bumped violently along the line, which caused the ammunition wagons along with the engine to explode. I was sent with the breakdown crane and emergency service crews to see it. It was most horrifying. Exactly 1 year after the fatal accident, the bell rang in the signal box to indicate an engine was on its way. The signalman waited 10 minutes, and then a ghostly figure of an engine rushed past the box, whistling fit to burst. Disappeared as soon as it cleared the signal. And some say that every misty rainy night around midnight, 260 spirits.
The Titmouth, Knapford and Elsbridge Railway. It was operated by a single engine. He was a hard worker. But as time went on, the line was merged with the other railway companies to become the North Western Railway. Management decided that the branch line wasn't necessary, and it was closed, and the engine was scrapped.
Arrogance got the better of him. In July of 1900, shortly after the railway had opened, Godred was coming down the top slope, being reckless as usual, when he suddenly derailed and rolled down the mountain. Miraculously, the coach stayed on the rails and the crew had jumped out. Godred, on the other hand, was practically wrecked and was never repaired. Next is the subject of debate, but it is agreed he was eventually scrapped. The 4 engines who were there at the time did not think the incident was a particularly fond memory. And the piece of wreckage that had now been
glowing red. They say this engine was disturbingly unusual. He would purposely push trucks over a cliff and run over animals that strayed onto the line. was very distraught by his actions and decided to put him in the shed, never to be let out again. Everyone knew there was something wrong with this engine. Some say that he was created by none other than the devil. There he sat in his shed, eyeing the others as they went about doing their work. The fire crew were called, but it was too late. The shed and the engine were already engulfed. In the flames, they couldn't see him anymore. But what they did see were two blazing, angry eyes. The engine burnt to the ground. His boiler was melted. But whether he survived...
Long ago, there used to be an engine called Lady. She was the pride of the China Clay Works. She worked there all on her own. Some say she worked like magic. But soon, tragedy struck. A storm similar to ours swept across the island. Rain pelted down hard, causing the clay walls to collapse. The workmen made it out safe, but Lady didn't, and she was buried underneath the clay. When they got her out, they found that she was damaged beyond repair and was to be sent away to the scrapyard. Some say that she still pushed around the clay bits. One of the signs of her presence is the trucks going off by themselves, and you can hear the howl of her whistle.
Early one night, there was a steam engine waiting at the docks to take his passengers home. He had a similar shape like Thomas, with 6 small wheels, except he was painted silver and had the number 0 on his side. His name was Timothy. He was an old but kind engine, with a broad smile and wrinkles at the end of his mouth. All the passengers climbed on board the coaches, and the guard blew his whistle. All steam ahead, Timothy.
Sure thing.
Timothy was soon puffing down the line in the countryside, with the rails humming and the carriages clattering behind him. The moon was full, the signals were down, and the wind was blowing gracefully. As they approached the first station, it happened. The driver applied the brakes, but Timothy kept on going and shot past the station. He started to go faster and faster. He didn't answer. He just kept on going. Suddenly, they were switched off the wrong line, heading away from the main line. Then the driver and fireman saw in horror that they were heading towards a cliff where a viaduct was to be built. Timothy, don't! You will kill us all! Timothy and his crew were also killed upon. Years later, the construction of the viaduct was commenced. However, after the rails were laid and the final works to it were being made, many workmen and railway staff reported seeing a ghost train rushing by, whistling fit to burst and cursing in a demonic voice before screaming into the darkness.
And every year, on Halloween night, the lost engine returns to Sodor, looking for engines to add to his train of the scrapped. By the time you hear his ghostly chains rattling along the rails, it's already too late!
It was a dark and misty night. The moon was full while the engine traveled home. As he crossed the old bridge, the haunted river snatched him away into the mist, never to be seen again.
Home through the driving snow, but stopped before the viaduct due to a faulty signal. The guard took a lamp, and ventured up the line to check with the signalman. The engine grew more and more impatient. They suddenly saw the signal turn green. The crew wanted to wait for the guard to return, but the engine convinced them they would find him up the line. As they crossed the viaduct, the engine's lamp caught the guard walking up the line towards them. The engine whistled loudly, and the guard had to jump clear, right into the frozen river. Terrence went silent for a moment. They searched and searched, but they couldn't find the remains of the guard.
Okay guys, that's all the ghost stories on Thomas and Friends. Rate and comment down below and subscribe. Also, you want to make me a part 2? You may comment down below you want to make part 2. Okay, bye. Wait. Up!